to release. Okay, now let's talk about something else. At Black Hat this year, I released a tool called Monkey Fist, and it does dynamic CSRF because that's a lot of what me and Sean were talking about at Black Hat this year. And what it allows you to do is really interesting ways. And remember, you can CSRF API calls too, which is always very fun. It allows you to do some things that aren't easy to do otherwise. So for cross-site request forgery, there are certain things that were thought to be useful that ended up becoming not useful after this tool was released. You can basically set this up, and based on the referrer, it will go through your payloads file and hit a specific payload in that payloads file. Also, if you're leaking any kind of token data or session data, it will strip that out of the referrer and package it into the payload for you. It will also allow you to do things like hidden posts, which for a while there, people were saying, well, it's a post instead of a get, so it can't be CSRF'd as easy. Not really anymore. This is very easy to do. And it also, one of the things it'll do is it will fixate token data for you. So if there is some sort of token that is rendered on the page or gotten when you make a request for something, you can then take that token and append it to a user's request. So if you're just doing token type validation for cross-site request forgery, like you have this form token, if it doesn't have any knowledge of the session data, like the session ID, then it is useless. Because an attacker can just go make a request for a token, append it onto somebody else's valid session, and bam, your cross-site request forgery protection mechanisms are all gone. A couple of scenarios for that. The easiest one is a dynamic redirect. So if you're running number 3 with Monkey Fist on it, and it's not something, Monkey Fist is actually a knot, by the way. It's nothing like uber bad, so don't believe Urban Dictionary. So if you user requests content on a page, if you can implement content on good.com and send that data back to the tool will then redirect back to the user with valid session data, and then number 4 is the payload. I'm just going to go past post construct because you can, if you leak full session data, the tool can make a post without the user's browser, and that's goodness. But the last two are dynamic page and session fixate or token fixation. So you can set up a dynamic page with Monkey Fist that the user never sees. So what happens is the attack happens, and then they're meta refresh to a legitimate destination. So like, let's say, for instance, you had a YouTube video, preferably not something horrible, and you're like, hey, click on this new YouTube video. When the user clicks on it, the attack happens in the background. They're meta refresh to the YouTube video. They have no idea that went on in the background, and that could be popular with like URL shorteners because they won't know where their data is going. So the tool allows you to do that very easily. And then, of course, the fixation attack, where you can make requests for valid CSRF tokens and append them onto a valid session for a user and have that as well. The changes I made to make it 1.0 versus 0.4, which I released at Black Hat, were the other handlers now work, which they weren't even available to you before. So if you tried to call them with the tool, it would be like, this isn't implemented yet. So all it did was attack. You didn't have any options to just log things that came in or to do a random handler. So if somebody was doing like SEO or something like that, they wouldn't be able to just pull random things out of the file. And the error handling is pretty good. So if you number a payload file wrong or something, it won't like totally crap out on you. However, the one thing I need to fix is in this fixation attack example, it assumes that all the input is type of input. So if you have something with a text area, it won't know how to do that. So I will fix that here at some point. And right now, I am pretty much done with this unless you have any questions. My information is up there, and hopefully you stayed awake through the whole thing. I don't think I saw anybody sleeping, but I wouldn't know with a laser beam shooting in my eyes right now. Any questions? Sure. Why do you? I knew you were going to ask me about Adult Friend Finder. I don't know how much it costs a month, but what? You just wanted to ask me about that, like? Well, you see, I was on there doing research and sexy. Anybody have a real question? That was the weakest wrist I've ever seen in history. Oh, I have nothing to fear from him. Any other questions? I'm glad you're all awake. How many people went to the party last night? One person. I'm kidding. I was just saying that for camera. So, okay, cool. Quite a few. So that's good. I'm glad you got out of bed. Hopefully it was decent enough to get up for. All right, thanks.